Hello, my name is Chris Athanas. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support says they're coming out. They said Tuesday, but we'll see, right? I am going to respond to this another economics Ethan, which is my new favorite economics channel because he talks the realness. And he started off doing softball. If you go look at his old videos, he was kind of doing the softball approach. But I really appreciate this hardball approach of like saying it like it is. Don't pussyfoot around it. Things are broken, suck, and it's not going to fix itself. You're going to have to get involved. Like it's like, and he doesn't go into the zero interest rate policy environment, the ZERP, like I do, because he kind of came up in that system. He's like that feels normal to him. It's like I knew that stuff wasn't normal the whole time. I was like, this is going to fall down, and it fell down. Okay, so that's what happened last year. So I was yelling at this. I was yelling at this, and now you're going to listen to me yell with you. Okay.
Well, let's consider the reality that many people are facing now when it comes to the job search. It can be very intense. This guy has done over 1,000 application. He said he's done over 1,500 job application in the tech industry trying to find a job. And this really can take a toll on someone. You can still be struggling. And these layoffs, they're going to get worse next year, and it's worthwhile learning from him and his experience. So let's.
Okay, so first of all, if you're doing that many job applications, you may want to check the news, maybe check some YouTube channels, see how the general conditions are in the employment world. And if it's really bad and you've done like 50 to 100 applications, you're not getting anything back, maybe it's the conditions are wrong. Maybe you're fine, whatever. Okay, maybe the conditions are wrong. And he's going to go into it. It's like, yeah, it used to be like this, now it's not like. It's like, yeah, the environment has changed. I know no one has prepared anyone for this because for the last 15 years, everyone thinks it's totally normal to have zero interest rates, 0% interest. Like, are you serious? Like, come on. So basically, like free money, and everybody's like, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Oh, and there's not going to be any inflation that happens or some kind of cost of living issues. No, never. Okay.
Listen to how.
So my point is with that is like, if you see yourself in this condition, maybe stop applying. It's like being in a rainstorm, right? And you're stuck. Your car's stuck in the mud, right? And you're sitting there hitting the gas. And you're just spinning your wheels. This worked last year. Yeah, because it wasn't raining. It wasn't raining a few years ago. The sun was shining. Everything was happy, glowy people, right? But now it's raining, right? It's raining out. If you haven't looked around, if you're on the gas pedal and you're looking at the gas gauges on the dust, like we're supposed to work like this. If I do this much, I should get this much out of it. It's like, yeah, but are you looking around? Do you notice, oh, look, it's raining outside. There's mud in the ground. And you're spinning your wheels and you're digging deeper. And the digging deeper represents your mental psyche because you're not moving forward. You're like, oh, this used to move forward. It's like, there's a book everyone used to know called Who Moved My Cheese? Like, big corporations are super into this for a while, but they're for petty reasons. But it's actually a profound book. It's very small, and you can imagine what it is. It's like, okay, when mice go into a maze, they're given them those, the scientific, how fast they can go through the maze, right? And memory tests. And they put the cheese there. The mice will go back maybe twice, once, maybe one for sure, twice, maybe. The third time, most mice have given up and they're searching the maze other places. And humans have this weird thing. It's just how we're programmed. It's just our society and schooling, indoctrination, whatever you want to call it. We don't want the cheese to move. And we really have a real hard time, as most of us are. We want to maximize our energy output for what we get back, right? We want to hit the lever and get the peanut, right? And when things change, when someone moves our cheese, right? Some of us get stuck, and it's most of the preserver types who just do not want to move. Look, this bar I was hitting, and it would give me a pellet back. It would give me two sometimes. I don't have to hit it once and give me two pellets, and now I'm hitting it 50, 500. If I'm hitting it 1,500 times, and the peanut's not coming out. And he's like, oh, was something wrong with me? Well, maybe there is something wrong with you, but also the environment has changed. So it could be both, right? It could be one or the other. But in this condition, in this case, and for this particular guy, because he's been used to the last 15 years of being a product manager and not having to do anything else, he's doing a luxury job for knowledge workers because knowledge workers can handle their own process because they're already doing it innately, right? We have to have meetings with product managers about these things. So his job is a luxury job. His job was a B student who didn't want to do this stuff. He wanted to go off and do other things. He distributed his load, right? So he hired a C student to go manage the A students, right? Because he didn't want to dick with them. So that's a luxury position, and that's a zero interest rate position, and that's for other major, huge corporations doing lots of different processes, and they do need someone like this. But for small companies, no, the knowledge workers can handle themselves. This is another cargo cult thing that companies, little companies, have taken on, and can be taken away and done without, and move forward just fine. I've worked on plenty of teams when they had to cut the layoffs and all that type of people, the scrum masters and the product managers. They all either quit because their pay got cut or their time was increased, or got whatever the reason was. And they left, and only people left were the only people that actually could write the code, which is me, and the other guy that I was with eventually hired on because I need a little bit of help for some other stuff. But there was no product managers or Scrum. No, we didn't want to get fired. We wanted to complete the project as well. We were like, we're invested in it. We probably should have asked for more money, whatever. But we were just both glad to finish the thing we had been working on.
How real it can get when you are desperately seeking a job and you're making thousands of applications.
Been job hunting for 10.5 months. I still don't have a full-time job, and I am struggling pretty bad. Not just with finding a job, but also mentally and emotionally. So let me go.
Right, because he's used to this soft environment, which they hired people they really shouldn't have. Like product managers, honestly, I don't know if they're really for tech companies. That's not really a tech role. It's more of that's a production line role. Like, did you get your ticket done? Is it 17? Did you get 17 points or 15 points? Is that a Fibonacci? Oh, is that a Fibonacci? It better be a Fibonacci, because if it's not, we're gonna have to break that ticket up. It's like, this is a to-do list, you guys. We kind of know what we need to get done. We have a pretty good idea of what needs to be done. And if you're always interrupting, telling us how to estimate, all your estimates wrong, that's not helping, dude. That's really not helping. We didn't know all the stuff we knew, and we don't get to revise our points. So here it is. Here's this. There it is. Where is it? It's this Price's Law. Repeatedly in departments and organizations, I've noticed there seems to be a small number of people who seem to get the most work done. So the square root of the number of people do half the work. It's just a rough guesstimate. But that's why I always got to say, when we're doing adventure-driven development with these tech companies, like the little tech companies, startups or startup-like environments, which somehow get spawned off in these environments, is very rare. It does happen. I mean, Xerox had it. I mean, they spun off their whole division that basically did the desktop, right? That was a tiny little startup over here, and Xerox like, yeah, we don't care about that. Oh, we got a laser, we got a new kind of printer that can use print paper. Okay, we're cool with that, but everything else, this desktop stuff, like you guys totally blew it. Anyway, let's keep going.
Go into first my layoff story. I got laid off in July of 2023. I work in technology as a product manager.
Well, technology. What does that mean? I could be working in cement as a product manager. I mean, working in architecture. This isn't really a tech role. I just want to say that real clear. If you want to be actually in tech, now this guy's a UX designer, a UI designer, some kind of graphic design stuff. He's pulling it that way, or he's like creating scripts or marketing things or doing SEO work or trying to find other avenues to make the product better somehow. Maybe, but honestly, it's a lot of it's just sticking around with this code that's terrible to work with, and these machines which are half done and half-assed. First of all, like for what we're actually trying to do with it, which is like change it all the time. It's not really meant for that. It's meant for like the waterfall method. You know what you want to do? Okay, we'll do it. Not change it. It's like, and a lot of it's just dicking around, making sure it fits in. Or when do we abandon that project, move on? Like, he doesn't know that stuff. How would he know that stuff? Now on some kind of architecture project, you can go out there and look at it, right? It's what's easier. It's like, oh, okay, I can know where we're at. You don't have to ask everybody, oh, where are you at? It's like, you would know where he was at because you can look at it. You would know what's going on, but they don't know that stuff. They never have. They never will. And it's really bad. It's a luxury position. It really needs to be turned into a UX or some kind of sales. Making sales calls, try and find customers. That is a useful role, right? Okay, if the product manager's out there trying to do marketing and sales and advertising, and maybe some customer support training, so we can, if we start to get customers, instead of talking to the developers directly or to the product manager directly. We have a frontline. Okay, that's useful. But that's not product manager. That's something else. You have to have another name for that role. It's like the business workings, dealings guy that's not code, 100% code, but completely related to code. Like the UI frames, the sketches and how things are flow, all the workflows, and streamlining operations, taking tech support calls, figuring out what the problems are, and then communicating that with actual designs and suggestions, not leaving it up to us developers to figure it out on the end. Come on now. That's that. There needs to be another the role that Jobs had, really. We could do the code. There's a bunch of stuff you have to know to dick around with this stuff to make it actually work, right? So you need like guys like me, guys like that, or a hybrid between. So I'm kind of a hybrid actually between these two guys. I love dicking around with it, but I've been so frustrated with like people telling me to do stuff which I have to figure out anyway. I just became kind of like this person over time. Because it's like I want to look at it from the customer, because that's really, at the end of the day, that's who matters, is the customer. And sometimes you don't really know who your customer is, but in a small company, in a startup company, you do know who your customer is. You know exactly who they are, because you're calling them on the phone trying to get them to sell to buy your product. Hey, I'll give you a discount for first month off. Like you have to be paid. They have to be paying customers. It can't be just like, oh, freemium. Do it. Use it for free, and then we'll ask you later if you might want to buy, which is always no. So that's the thing there. So we need someone in that role here, of this person here who knows how to debate, who knows how, has some ethics, has some style, has some morality, it may not be your morality, but he has one, and that will connect with his customers, right? Some sense of style, art, philosophy, politics, all that stuff is all in there. You better believe it. Spirituality, all that stuff. There has to be someone on that team that's in that role, that connects with the customer in that way, that connects with your customers, right? The customers you want to serve.
And I remember seeing a calendar invite on my computer saying like, hey, quick sync with the chief product officer. At that point in time, I knew that I was going to get laid off. A lot of people also got laid off, so it was a layoff round. So overall, I would say my honest read on the situation is, was it performance related? I would say no, because there are a lot of people that got laid off. I would say...
not your performance specifically, but that role performance was being eliminated, right? Because it's like, we really need someone out here pulling stuff, not just ticking boxes. Oh, did you just do circuit number 684? Oh, okay, I guess which one's that? Oh, 685. Well, how long do you think it'll take you to do 685? Well, how long will it take you to do each individual hole in the soldering? Is that 1 point or 2 points? No, that's the wrong questions. Wrong questions.
Were a superstar, amazing unicorn product manager, would I have not gotten laid off? Okay,
the superstar, amazing product manager and unicorn is doing all the stuff that Jobs was doing, whether it was in the Jobs description or not. Jobs is not over here saying how many points does it take for you to solder in one of those sockets or design that chip to reduce three or four transistors so we can get rid of a chip, so we can get the discounts down, so we can sell this for $1,000 instead of $10,000. No, you can't point that for me.
It's possible, but that's really just kind of neither here nor there. So anyways.
So this is quite an interesting scenario here, right? So when you're job searching, it really can get difficult because you're start to question everything. Firstly, you're dealing with a layoff. You think, was it for your performance? And I would say no one should take any layoff personally, right? Maybe there might be a few.
I mean, it kind of is and it kind of isn't. So don't think it's like, oh, it's just the environment. It's like, no, it's kind of a little bit of this, like, what do you think you're doing in tech? What do you think you're doing? Is it ticking off Jira ticket items and pointing things and doing meetings? No, you missed it, completely missed it. Adventure-driven development. This is the answer. Is like the people like not, they're just like focusing on the wrong things. Like the thing they measure becomes measurable, and they are focusing on that, right? There's probably some law. There's probably some law about, if you measure it, if people are going to measure by it, they're going to game the shit out of that, right? That's going to hit the bar once and sometimes get 2 peanuts out, right? They're going to gamify that. But this stuff can't be gamified. The stuff Jobs was doing, ethics, morality, taste, art, context, experiences that were not related to being on a soldering iron in a little room with a guy counting the number of pins on a chip, like other things outside of all that. I know it's crazy. There actually was, or it still is, another world beyond all the tech stuff It's hard to believe that there's a world outside. I know it's crazy, but there is actually another world outside. And to bring to the stuff that we need to do with tech now, because it's niching down even deeper into all the different areas where it can go. That the experiences and the nuance and the style and all that stuff is now the thing that's going to differentiate your product. So this is what we need: product manager. We don't need product manager. We need Steve Jobbers. we need someone that's out there taking a stand somewhere, niching down. These guys were not making things for millions of people. These guys are making this stuff for their friends and their buddies and their pals, kind of showing off a little bit and seeing where it can go. Honestly, I was like, they were doing a fool card. This is with Western ethic, magical tradition, magical for that word, but it's really like bending reality to your will by negotiating and seeing where people have a need and filling it, right? And in that, you get an exchange back, right? So that's the whole thing, right? That's the whole thing. And the universe, you push on it, and like sometimes it pokes back. So Jobs has this famous interview where he basically says that. So he's doing the fool card the whole way, and and where it led, where it led.
Performance issues that you want to improve on, but a lot of the time the business just needs to make cuts and save money. There might be other people getting laid off similar to you in terms of senior people that you might not expect to get laid off or getting laid off. So that's normally a sign that it's not just you. They're not just focused on targeting you. There are other people who are losing their jobs, so don't take it too personally. And then there are a lot of mental health challenges that come with there. Imposter syndrome. Are you really good at the job? And
or imposter syndrome
layoff round
is often
there's a round of layoffs. It's just what it is.
All right. I had a little goof up on my computer there. Let me rewind a little bit here.
Syndrome. Are you really good at the job? And
okay, that's what I wanted to say. Yes, most people that have imposter syndrome are because they haven't actually gone down and all this stuff here. So in this zero interest rate environment, people are just hiring their friends and people straight out of boot camp, right? So they hadn't gone through all this crap down here. Tunnels of fake agile doom, the dungeon grinds, year burn down slog, feature factory. I go over this in the start of the series for adventure driven development. So I talk about all these different things, what they are. And if you haven't been down in here, and if you go to the top and go into the Silver Horde or Lead Mine or Dungeon Grind, and you just get plopped in there without having to go through all the things you normally had to go through in the past to be competent, yes, you're going to have imposter syndrome. Of course you are. And also, at the same time, this whatever, the techniques, software libraries, and different apps and stuff is always changing. And that is the nature of software. It's changing. It's supposed to change. It's supposed to change a lot. Now, we haven't gotten very good at it because of how it started out. The distribution was super slow, right? It was very slow distribution. It sometimes took years for people to get information that they needed. Now we can get it instantaneously. So how do you find it? What do you find? So it becomes a different set of problems, which we're not really getting set up for. This AI stuff is helping quite a bit. Sift through that stuff to even just get to where you're coming from, and it's improving rapidly. But it's always going to be there, right? This whole thing about the thing is the preserver types. They always want to come in with the tech that they learn, right? They want to come in with the tech that they learned over here, and then use that to attack the dragon. It's like nope. It's going to be a whole bunch of stuff in here. It's going to change by the time you've made the journey through all this baloney, one way or another. Whether you do it personally or whether you go through the dungeons and all this crap through here. By the time you we're going to make this run here, you've got a whole other set of tools here that you've collected along the way on the little hops up the mountain. Because you notice he's at the top of a mountain. He's not at the bottom of a mountain. He's up in this region right here, right? He's gone up the mountain already like this, the well-worn path. All these are well-worn. All this stuff are well-worn paths. They're well-worn paths. But when he gets up here, it's not well-worn anymore. Right, you're gonna have to start to go off on paths you don't know. It may be a drop off to your death. There may be a gold mine over there. Who knows? But without going there, you're never gonna know, and that takes courage. There's no guarantees, and that scares the shit out of the preserver types. Like, I have to have courage now. It's like, yeah, you do. You have to actually think that you're worth investing even more than just being a product manager. You actually have to invest in yourself to learn things about sales, marketing, advertising, UI, UX, customer support training, documentation. You're going to have to learn all that stuff. And you're going to suck at first. Oh, man, I'm going to suck at first. Yeah. The fool is terrible when he first starts something, but that doesn't make him stop. He's going to keep going. And if you tire off, if you like don't want to, if you fall off here, you don't really die. You just go back down here, do one of these things again for a little while until you can make another run. What?
When it comes to, layoff rounds, like I say, if there's a round of layoffs, it just is what it is. It could be simply a popularity thing. And as I say throughout my videos, your job security depends on your popularity more than your performance or your productivity, right? So popularity is much more highly valued than performance or productivity. And that's just the unfortunate truth of the current corporate dynamic, right? And that's why it's important.
Yeah, in the zero interest rate environment where everybody was just hiring their friends because they didn't really know who the customer was or how they got customers, or where they came from, or anything about that. There's other thing like kissing ass and making sure you know who the right circle is and the right pronoun and the right political view, because that's what it was. It was zero interest rate environment. That's what happens when there's free money being thrown around by people who can basically scam and figure a way to get access to the free money. That's what happens.
Important you don't overwork yourself, you don't sacrifice your health just for the sake of having a good paying job, because often you could be laid off even if you're doing excellent performance and excellent productivity just because someone doesn't like you. And it's important to understand throughout your career there's no real way to avoid it. You might think, I can definitely avoid a layoff, but regardless of how good your performance is, as you'll see in many cases I'll cover,
unless you're the only way to avoid a layoff is to actually be the only person that could actually produce the actual end product one way or another, or you're integrated into that process, which means you're going to be after one of these guys, right? Jobs, he was definitely let go for rocketing the boat too hard. He was doing too much of this stuff. He was like total destroyer mode. He was also creator mode, but that's not what the people in charge were saying. Now this guy, he just had his head down and did his work. So this guy's usually the very, very, very last. Now, if you're in the calculator division and microcomputers are the next revolution, oh yeah, you better believe you're on the chopping block, buddy.
You could still be subject to a layoff.
Applying for jobs myself. I got some interviews, and a few times I actually got to final rounds. And ultimately, things did not work out. So then I went on to the next round of my job hunt strategy, which is to really just focus on networking. And that's kind of been what I've been focused on the past month or so. So here are the results of why.
That's what people do. They go, oh no, okay, so I need to go do some more schmoozing. I got to do more kiss-assing around somewhere because that's what I saw worked in the last environment, right? Because that's what worked, right? The networking and the schmoozing and all that stuff. And maybe that's not it, man. Maybe it's you have to develop another skill. Oh, I don't want to develop another skill. Oh, that would make me, I'm going to suck at first. Oh, you're going to suck at first. Oh, baby, I'm going to suck at first. It's going to not be right. You don't remember when you were doing these tutorials and these personal projects, how much fun it was? And if you don't, you're doing the wrong stuff, man. Like this person right here, he thinks he's a bad person, but he just hasn't challenged himself. He hasn't even tried to climb up to the mountain to see a new vista. He's down there trying to muck around and this stuff going, why aren't I happy? Well, this stuff's cut off right now. A lot of it's cut off right now. They're in a different mode. They're freaked out about some stuff, as well they should be, because they're all open to competition, man. All the stuff that's been written before, it's all open for completely rewrite. This is the way it's always been. It's people like, oh, Google, the most masterful, amazing things. Like, no, they bought most of their technology, and the two things they're good for is about to be obsoleted because the AI is going to catalog the shit out of stuff. So it's always moving, and it's right now it's niching down. Instead of going wide, they're niching down. So if you go niche down and you find a skill set like UI, UX, customer service training, marketing, sales, like all that stuff, and you're doing it all, and you just start doing it for somebody in a niche already, you just got yourself a job. It's like, no, but he doesn't want that, right? He wants what he had before. He wants the one push of the lever, 2 peanuts out. Come on.
I tried when it comes to getting interviews and ultimately a job. There's a lot of different.
So just before we continue, let's have a quick look at this little table he's put up on the screen, right? So he mentioned that, he's looking at the conversion rate of getting interviews when it comes to different sources of applications. He's reaching out to recruiters from the company, recruiters, third-party recruiters, networking and referrals, direct job applications, using job applications with a virtual assistant who would help him, and using AI, right? And he mentions, and I've kind of skipped a bit here, the AI applications wasn't great, and the conversion rate, you can see, is 0. He's getting a bit of luck with a virtual assistant helping him do many job applications. Direct job applications are only 5, and then, as you'd expect, networking referrals a bit higher than that at 20%, and then recruiter outreach is 40%, and outreach directly from the company is 80%. So that's what you'd expect, right? And that's why through my career coaching service, I help you improve your personal professional branding, whether it's for your CVs, your cover letters, your LinkedIn profiles, and then through optimizing that, a lot of recruiters will reach out to you, say from LinkedIn, because your profile will have the right keywords to get their attention and engage with them to help find you opportunities. So recruiters really are a key role to play when it.
I mean, kind of, yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna respectfully disagree that at the current time this isn't. And the thing is, what this guy really needs to do is not have more recruiting help. Okay, he needs to update his skill set to do something useful. Because product manager in knowledge work, if he wants to stay in this field, which is super fun and still open and available, right? You're gonna have to like lower your highbrow thing, and then you can think you just do this one little thing, and that's gonna cut it, because it ain't. That job was gonna be automated away anyway. That's the other thing too. Like this is like, oh, you're trying to get a recruiter. I love Ethan, but this is, I think, the bad advice is like you need to go do a different skill set that requires taste, ethics, morality, style, context, care. Like that's really the AI just really doesn't. What are you talking about? Like we know what we're talking about because we're trying to provide value to other customers. He's still trying to provide value to some company that was doing the zero interest rate environment scam shit, and it's like that's over, guy. So I respectfully disagree.
Comes to your job search, even though you might be thinking, applying directly is good, but recruiters can typically take a CV of someone who's a good candidate and put it in front of the hiring manager and really help you put you to the top of that pile of CVs to help you get the job that you're looking for, right? So that's very important. So let's have a look at his other experience here.
Different stats I have, but basically when I apply for jobs, I have around a 5% application to interview rate. So basically, if I apply to 100 jobs
it's actually not bad
myself, I'll get 5 interviews. The VA
for this last environment, oh yeah, it's been terrible. I mean, it's been terrible. He's actually doing not bad. He's actually he's putting in the reps, but man, the results, I'm gonna have to key 500 times. It's like, dude, get off the key. I know everyone's telling you, get the keys. Like, no. You might want to do something else for what's coming down the pike, right? Which is product manager is about to go bye-bye because AI is going to take over all that stuff, look through all the stuff the developers are doing, working on, talking about, and do the synopsis anyway. And this whole time estimate stuff, that's all going away too. That's all that's going away. All that's going away. We will have a to-do list and we'll go as fast as we can, but they've always been pure fantasy. So who's giving you the estimates? Okay, you don't know you have a specified, with ADD you have a specified amount of time. You're given 3 months, a week, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, some substantial amount of time for whatever the thing you're doing, right? And you're just like, at the end of it, you better have something. You better show something that's on your way there or nearly there or and you're in the middle of it and you're going up this hill and you're like, okay, we tried to look for the cave opening and we're not going to find it. We're actually thought we'd find something, but now we're not. And if you tell your stakeholder or whoever's financing the operation, like, okay, time to quit. We just like, got to stop here. Or you find something that's like, okay, this is already a solved problem. We thought it was going to be we thought we found something amazing, but we actually just found a tar pit. And, there's nothing here. This is just a hype. It's just stock pump, sleazeball, scam. We thought it was real, but it's not real. Like that's totally legit. Like if you cut your adventure off early, like, oh no, this guy he told us about there was gold up here, but he didn't realize it was fool's gold, pyrite. It's all over the place. And he thought it was the actual thing, and it's not. It's just fool's gold, right? I should call this fool's gold as well, but people don't really know what that is unless you're in the middle like I am, like because I'm slightly autistic.
Applied to around 1,300 jobs, and the application to interview rate was 0.45%. If you see my eyes moving, I'm looking at the computer screen. For networking referrals, back in the day, before this crazy job.
How much could he have learned in that time period? How much in that 1,500 application time period? How much could he have learned about UI, UX, sales, marketing, advertising, customer support training, documentation? using all these new tools to communicate his ideas and to be useful on a team that needs this stuff, and not a product manager ticking a box. What's your point ticket on the Scrum Master training certification?
Job market in tech, I would always get an interview if I got referred. This dropped down to 20%. So if I got a referral, basically 20% of the time I'll actually get an interview. So that was interesting. If a recruiter reaches out to me, there's an 80% chance that I'm actually going to get an interview. This is not surprising because oftentimes when a recruiter reaches out, they want a call. So that's not really surprising. And there's a 40% chance that when a outside recruiter, so basically a recruiter that's just basically sourcing candidates from different company, when they actually reach out to me, there's a 40% chance I actually might get an interview. So this is basically a third-party recruiter.
So it's quite interesting considering the dynamics that you have to deal with, right? It's quite a difficult environment. Reaching the final round for some of your interviews, but that not working out. And the thing is, the recruiters have to have a higher conversion rate. And my experience is the same. As I say, recruiters are quite important. It's important to try networking, but I think networking, again, it depends on popularity. Are you popular with your former co-workers? Do you have internal politics where other co-workers might not want to see you do well, and they're kind of happy you have a layoff and that you're going through a job search? They're not really going to help and recommend you to others.
That's the ZERP, man. Because it wasn't actual skill, right? Because what is the actual skill involved with product managing? You use Jira, you tick boxes, you have meetings, you call people, you talk to the manager and you tell them the reports that the engineers can't tell you. So that stuff's it's going away.
Jealous co-workers, these are all the type of dynamics you need to consider, right? And when it comes to, like I say, direct job applications, of course I recommend you do that if you are going through a job search, but maybe focus more on the recruiter aspect. As you can see here, it is the one with the highest rate of return in terms of getting an interview, right? And especially for high paying roles, the recruiters really do help make sure that you're not just a random one of 5,000 applications through the online direct portal. They make sure that the recruiter knows the hiring manager, so that's the best chance.
I mean, word of mouth is word of mouth. And how do you learn that? Because you're out there doing other stuff and you're already making yourself known in other ways. This whole using the internet to find people you don't know, I think that's actually going to be going away as well, because of how people have gamed it with the AI and how they're going to be using all these tools to game it like crazy, and people just going to ignore it, right? So they're going to go with a more trusty signal, not such a loud signal, but a noisy. It's loud and noisy, right? It's loud and noisy. Well, people when things are loud and noisy, where you don't know what the signal to noise is, you don't know the signal's down here and the noise is like this. People just they mute that. Like that's why you never hear ringers on phones anymore. It's like, okay, it's too noisy. It's like too much there. So they squelch it, and they only look when they need to. And then they have another channel, right? So there's this big public channel, which email turned into, right? Everyone mutes that shit. So now your only people that can actually get through are people that have your personal Slack, your personal phone number, your SMS. Those people get through. Even Facebook or Instagram or all these message apps, like you turn the notifications off. You go check it when you feel like it, right? And there's certain names you just skip, and you just briefly look at it. Other ones, but you might just block them completely. So that's the level it's going to be at. It's going to be more. There's so much spoofing going to be happening with this AI. They're just not going to trust it anymore. So you're going to have to use a different channel.
You really have of getting the job through that route.
For stories, I have never been in such a bad job market in my life. Admittedly, I'm only 35, but really, this has been the most difficult job market in technology I've ever been a part of in the past.
Yes, because of how freaking pumped up it got. Holy crap. 0 interest rate for 15 years. You don't think it's going to cause some serious issues when the party's over and they have to pull the plug because it's about to collapse the financial system?
Past, when I was looking for a job, within a month or two, I would get a job offer. I may not take the job offer.
It was super
However,
easy.
I would get a job offer.
So he's comparing this time to previous instances, and that's why it's quite important for all of you listening to me right now to be aware of, how bad the layoffs could get moving forward, and how you could be out of a job for, say, not just 3 to 4 months, but like 6 to 12 months, right? So it's a rough job market, and this guy's 35, so it's not like he's facing.
Or maybe never have a job again. Maybe you're doing something else. I know it's crazy, but this is the thing, is like if you have this mindset of, I'll just have another job doing exactly the same thing I was doing before. It's so easy. Blah, blah, that's over, man. That's over. If you want to stay in tech or whatever knowledge work, you might want to go work for a pool company or an architecture firm. They have a pipeline that's never going to be the same thing today as it was tomorrow. This guy, like preserver, he wants to go to the preserver stuff. But if you're like, fuck that. If you're that motive, if you're kind of that attitude, the destroyer creator type is for you. So you may actually want to get to the point where you realize you don't want jobs anymore. You don't want jobs. Jobs are not where it's at. It's up here, right? Where you're doing this adventure run. Now you might have to go do a job, but you're never down there just doing a job. Come on, man. Like yes, okay. in these environments, you will see people who are just down here doing this. Oh, I learned the thing and I'm going to do the thing forever. It's like, okay, buddy. I don't think so. And then you have other people down here like, okay, this is temporary. Stop. I'm moving on to the next thing because I know this isn't going to be the temporary. And they just kind of have this innate things like, this isn't it. I'm just, this is interesting for now. And then we're moving through to some other, and they're just coming through. And the people in the middle are like, oh, they're going to have them work at this tech company forever. Oh, it's like, dude, you're not. And stop thinking that way. I know you have. Look, the leadership has to make it seem like that to get you motivated to do it, and it kind of has to be that way. And for people that are really doing adventure-driven stuff, to get to the happiness and get like, okay, I'm going after find the cave interest. I'm doing the battle with the dragon, which is like the customer needs and like the thing that I'm trying to niche down into and give my flavor on. That's the stuff for us. But the preserver stuff, that's not the stuff for them. They want to, yesterday, today, tomorrow, always the same. I've given the one true way, the one Jira ticket, the one Scrum training that makes it all make sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's not how tech companies work. Tech companies are really not even tech. It's all psychology, art, ethics, morality, context, style, presentation. It's all that stuff.
Ageism. It's not like he's 40 or 50 where, might be even more difficult to get a job because there's a bit of a bias against older people. And yeah, I would just say, definitely take that into account, in terms of how you save, budget, invest. The likelihood of long-term unemployment, even for highly skilled, qualified people, is quite high in this current world we're living in.
If you're going to be in tech, you call it something else, sci-tech, I guess. Yes, you're going to be out of jobs. It's because that's just the nature of the thing, man. You're on a wild bunking bronco. If it goes off, it's great. And if it doesn't, it sucks. You can always go back and do one of these jobs, man. You can always find these things. They're around, and they will lay you off as well. So there's no way around the layoff stuff.
In completely dysfunctional economy, completely ridiculous hiring and promotion practices as we see. It depends on popularity, nepotism, favoritism, if you're a DEI hire, gender equality, which is kind of biased against men. So there's all sorts of dynamics that are at work here that have very little to do with productivity, performance, ability to be a good quality human being.
Well, it depends on whose point of view, sir. Now, for me and Ethan, we're like, this is fucked up and stupid. But for them, and for the people that got the 0 interest rate loans that they could run their company forever on the 0% spread, they thought it was great. Because it was their time to shine, right? Because this is the only chance they're going to have, right? Now, for me and Ethan, we got other things to go. And this guy, too, if he can get out of the product manager mindset, he's got places to go, too. But not if you think you're going to be like, I'm going to get it'd be nice to have that job security. Oh, it'd be nice to have that job security. Yeah, I would, but not in tech. Come on.
Who works hard, right? That's those type of skills or those type of attributes put you at the bottom of the pile when it comes to job applications.
So basically, I went through all the interview rounds, pretty normal, nothing like crazy, and I felt like I was going to get an offer, but then they completely ghosted me. So I finished all the rounds. I thought it went well. I never got any feedback from them. So around 1 to 2 months later, they actually just sent the stock rejection notice. And I was just like, why the hell will you send me this? At this point in time, you might as well just not contact me. Funny thing is, after sending that rejection notice, like 2 to 3 weeks later, they reached back out to me. The head of technology reaches back out to me saying like, hey, you were our second option. The other person didn't work out. Are you still open to a conversation and getting offers? So I'm like, sure, I'm happy to talk about it, but I have some concerns. So I end up...
No, I have some concerns. No, sir. No. I have some concerns. Dude, don't be that desperate. Look, man. Get some more skills together. Instead of dicking around with these fucking asshole companies like you're dealing with, you're just going to be a number? And you think you'd be treated well after this? Oh, okay. Ooh.
Having a call with, the head of technology, then I have a call with a product team member, and the product team member kind of works to assuage my fears and concerns. And he's like, hey, if you really want to offer, I'm more than happy to send you the offer. I was like, yeah, I would love to see an offer in writing. And what ends up happening is this person ghosts me. So this company basically...
You didn't see that coming. Ghosted, you say? You say they ghosted you. No. They would never do such a thing. They've been ghosting you the whole time. Dude, quit being a job simp. Quit being a job simp. Seriously. Stop doing that shit.
Ghosted me after I went through final rounds. They reached back out to me saying they want to give me an offer. They say they're going to give me an offer, and they ghost me again. The sad thing about all this actually is...
This guy is getting played like an OnlyFans. Yeah, like an OnlyFans subscriber. She ghosted me. Are you serious, dude?
Person that I spoke to at the end, the product team member, the reason why I got this interview with this company in the first place is because I networked with this product person. So
Is that how you got it? You networked with the product person? Is that what you did?
I thought him and I were at least cool, or at least we would have common courtesy with each other.
Oh, common courtesy? Have you been to America? Have you been to America the last 15 years? Common courtesy, sir. I think you might be in the wrong country.
For him to also basically ghost me, that wasn't a good feeling. It really made me feel like they just didn't really value my efforts, or they just didn't care.
They didn't value your efforts. Oh, wow. You want to know why they didn't value your efforts, sir? Because they didn't know your efforts. They just know their effort. They give a fuck about your effort. Do you care about all the efforts of all the people that do all the things? Really, do you consider their feelings, what they're about? No, you don't. Wait a second. So they're not considering your feelings because you don't have any skill in sales, marketing, advertising, UI, UX design, customer support training, doing documentation. You have nothing, just box ticking. Really? Oh, he doesn't value efforts. Okay.
And ultimately,
yeah. Oh, they didn't care. Really? I wonder why they didn't care. This isn't like a social group. This isn't like a job, like a job simp. They say all that stuff. That's marketing brochure. It's supposed to be blah, blah, blah. You're supposed to ignore that stuff. But I guess you didn't get the message. Like, oh, he's my friend group. Oh, he's got my back. It's like, why would he have your back at all? This is weird, man. This culture is very odd, very strange. People have confused the marketplace of employment with some sort of social market, some kind of social thing that's supposed to, because our social connections and social binds have destroyed. We're both super atomized, right? And we're thought to be that this corporate environment place is a replacement for that, and it's not. And we're all struggling with it, right?
is that a company I would want to work for? Absolutely not. But it's still stuff.
So there's an interesting perspective here that he's expressing in terms of, having a job offer, having it fall through, dealing with rejections. In my experience at some of these companies, fintech companies, he's in the tech industry. I've been, interviewed at finance tech companies. I'm sure you're aware of that. And what I realized is sometimes they drag out these interviews. You have I've had 9 or 10 interviews at one particular crypto company. And I really wanted to work there actually. It seemed like it was growing and they had a bit more of a smart casual kind of, a bit more of a relaxed work environment. But it's still interesting work and it'd be great to have that on my CV as some experience, right? Working there for several years. But then they're really dragging out the interviews. And when they drag out interviews, you have to think, why is that? They got other candidates. Are they looking for another?
Because it's a consensus. It's a consensus society. And the zero interest rate, all they have is their friends, and they're running a scam. So I'm glad you didn't get involved. But yeah, it's because it's consensus, right? So they have all they're hiring their friends. They don't want to piss their friends off because this is their social group, right? This is their social group. This is the friend group. They've replaced the business environment with the social environment. So anyone can say no. That's the consensus society. That is. And adventure driven is the opposite of that. Who gets to say no? This guy and this guy. And that's it. They also get to say yes. And they got to work it out. But in the consensus where it's all your friends, and your friends are hiring your friends. How else would you think it was going to work out?
Candidate and they're waiting for them to say yes before they take you out the interview process, because after the point you've done 9 or 10 interviews with people at different levels of seniority, it doesn't really take much more to figure out whether they want to hire you or not. So it just becomes ridiculous after a point. I had an interview with so many people. All interviews were through Zoom. I was currently at home at the time and I was traveling, and then I had to do some interviews from a hotel room over Zoom. It just became ridiculous after a point. It's like if I've interviewed with your C-level executives, and before that I've interviewed with who would be my direct manager, the equivalent team members in London, New York, some contacts in Asia. It's like, how many people do you need to speak with me? HR, two other HR contacts. There's nothing more that you need. And this is the ridiculousness of a lot of these, not only job applications, but the interview processes. And eventually it wears you down, not only just like the mental toll of maybe getting rejections, but it's just like, your expression on your face during some of the interviews.
But it doesn't wear down the preserver types, right? So they're looking for the preserver types, right? So it doesn't wear those people down. Those people will go through whatever it takes to get the one true thing. And also, they don't really have a lot of other alternatives. So that's the other thing they're filtering for is like, how many alternatives do you have? We're going to make sure that we are the best one you could possibly even imagine. So we'll get that crazy loyalty and are willing to put up with what's obviously going to turn to be a scam, right? Turns out to be a scam. To put up with that. Are you gonna? So there has to be a lot of filters involved because it's a scam operation, buddy.
kind of like, even though you try to be professional, it's like, can we just hurry up and move the process forward or just end the process?
No.
And I've been in those type of scenarios before, and I really tried to maintain my professionalism.
No, you don't understand what's happening. They're filtering for people that will just go the fuck along and put up with whatever and do whatever they're told. So you failed because you're not willing to do whatever you're told and ignore all kinds of red flags all over the place. Ethan!
You know, like when it comes to the end of the interview, I'm just kind of, you know, thinking about the next opportunity or kind of rushing out the door or ending the Zoom call as soon as possible, because it's obvious when they're wasting your time or you're just kind of going nowhere, just more interviews, right? And that's what I'd recommend all of you do, kind of really.
What else do you think they're doing all day? Ethan, what do you think they're doing all day? They're just interviewing people. That's what else would they be doing? They're trying to find somebody else that's going to not give them guff and put up with whatever they tell them to do. And there's lots of them out here, so they just interview all day. Come on, Ethan.
Look out for your best interest and don't do what I did, which is kind of lose my patience at the end of some of the interviews and leave like a couple minutes.
Yeah, you should. That would try to make you lose your patience. That was the test, and you failed it. If you would have just kept going, they would eventually go, okay, this guy is a pushover. Let's get this guy again. Burn him out.
But as nice as you can, you don't want to appear desperate in job interviews and in your job search and speaking with recruiters, and you don't want to show that you're kind of losing your patience with them. But there's a balance where it's like, oh, I'm confidently, assertively looking for jobs that would be in my field, but I'm not going to kind of have my time wasted, you know, and just be like, okay, sure. The way I'll deal with it, for example, with a recruiter in a good way would be, you know, just letting them know, okay, I'm just catching up with you. I've sent you my CV a week or two ago. We had a quick chat. Are there any other opportunities available? And if they're like, no, I'll let you know. Just say, okay, sure, yeah, I'm definitely eager, still looking. Same way you'd end job interviews in a nice way. Yes, it'd be great to work with here. I'm very eager to move forward with the process. Please let me know. I am interviewing elsewhere. So you have to kind of create the impression that you are in high demand, even if you're not, because everyone else is kind of lying. The same way.
Well, why not just be in high demand? Instead of trying to do the fooling of everybody with this ZERP shit, and they're filtering for something else entirely. They already know. They already can figure out that you know how you're going to do this thing. They're filtering for this other thing. Are you going to put up with just all the bullshit we give you? And Ethan's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I was like, yeah, you didn't think of that. But you better believe in the zero interest rate environment when that's just their friends being paid off and trying to scam other people, that it's going to have people that go along with shit and don't ask a lot of questions, don't think about it too much, and have technical skills to get things done, but not enough to figure out the scam.
Recruiters are lying about job opportunities that might be coming up, even though the job market might be quiet. The interviewers, the HR, the hiring managers might be lying about, oh yeah, they definitely want to hire you. You might be the backup option, the second, third backup option, and they've got a top candidate that they want to hire for the role. So you've got to create a sense of false scarcity, and that's the same thing with, you know, products when they're selling a PlayStation 5. They might.
Why not just have real scarcity? Why not just have the skills of UI, UX, sales, marketing, advertising, customer training? Why not just have the skills and demonstrate them instead of going, oh, we're going to fake around it?
Deliberately want it to sell out so people see it as in high demand and they place a pre-order to get the PlayStation 5 and with the second batch of production, the same way you do with your own sense of perception within the industry. You're in high demand. If someone asks you in an interview, are you interviewing elsewhere, just make sure you make it clear, I'm interviewing.
I'm always interviewing. I'm interviewing you right now, buddy. Yeah, I'm interviewing all the time. What are you talking about? I'm talking about all the time. I talk to people all the time about all kinds of things. What are you talking about?
With 2 other hedge funds and a private equity firm, so I've got 3 other options on the table I'm currently actively with, and we're moving forward that process too, but this is definitely my best option. That's what you say in interviews, just kind of make up the BS, because everyone's lying.
I mean, everyone's lying, exactly. Well, how about not lie? How about like, dude, I'm working on this thing over here, this marketing thing. I got this UX design set up here for this particular market I'm looking into developing something into. What?
And the whole thing's one big theatre show, and that's what the workplace has become.
The second horror story is...
That's what the zero interest rate environment did. And that's over now. So now people have to deliver real value to real customers with real problems. Yeah. And that's what Adventure Driven is about.
It's not so much a horror story, actually. It was a job offer I was about to get. I went through all the interview rounds. It went pretty smoothly. The team liked me. The hiring manager really wanted to get me an offer as soon as possible because he knew I was interviewing with other companies and was in final rounds. And I get this text message from him. He's like, hey, do you have time to chat? And this was a Friday, right? Because I was so confident I was going to get a job offer. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm busy. I'm hiking right now. Like, let's chat on Monday. Obviously, I'm saying this very casually. I was obviously professional. But on Monday, when I talked to him, he tells me that the executives decided to put the role on hold. So I went from getting an offer or potentially getting an offer to basically like, hey, this role no longer exists. So that was not a good feeling because I was around 5 months of the job hunt. So I always felt like, I would get a job within 6 months. The other horror story is I went through...
Who says you would? Who put that in your mind? Where'd you get that idea? The thing is, you might get another job doing product manager, but this is the last one. that role is going away.
Final rounds with another company. They were very responsive initially, but after going through final rounds and saying that they would get back to me, they basically ghosted me. So I never heard back from them. I did reach out to them, and they said like, "Hey, we'll get back to you," but then ultimately I never heard back. So overall,
I never heard back.
Well, it's just been a really, really bad experience and very, very.
Right, and it's not you, sir, but it kind of is, but it kind of isn't. It's the environment. It's raining outside. The environment is slippery. You're not going to get traction, and your skill set is shitty. Sorry, it's about to be obsolete. So you got two things going against you. Yeah, it's going to suck, but don't take it personally. It's just nobody's told you this stuff, right? Nobody told you the American business environment is cutthroat. There's a lot of famoose, a lot of kayfabe going on, a lot of social conditioning, thinking that they're your friends, and it's a family environment. It's definitely not. And unless you are family already, it's not. And even then, you should be careful. Yeah, there's a lot of famoose kayfabe and a lot of so a lot of it's like you're taking it personally, but dude, this is this environment we're in. We're being so atomized. We don't get to talk to each other. We don't have these natural connections that would not allow for a lot of this stuff to happen. Honestly, are gone. Right. So those support systems and those guide wires and all that stuff where men would tell each other this stuff. Right. These environments are not your friends. These hiring people are not your friends. They will never be your friends. Do not make them your friends. You're in there to do an adventure, and once the adventure is over, you go back to your family. They're not your family. You may be close to them. You may get close to them by doing a journey like that, but they're not your family, right? You're all different species. You're all different animals. You're all different character types, and you all have different things. But you come together because you're excellent in your skill set. The adventure comes together when you have adventurers on the team that have a mutual and beneficial skill set. So get a skill set. Get your skills up. Get your skills up, and not just and do projects. But create something. As if you're doing, like, if you don't have anybody to do it for, go find someone. And if you don't know what I'm talking about or can't figure that out, maybe you just shouldn't, and just go do something else. Go do product manager at the pool company.
He's 35. I thought he'd be able to kind of see through the BS, right? Typically, when a company keeps you waiting, like, yeah, we're going to send you a job offer soon. We're really eager to hire you, but things are on hold. This is a typical type of BS, right? I just get you to, even after final round interviews being ghosted, where they say they're going to offer you a job, they could be interviewing 5, 10, 20 candidates. You don't know. They could be maybe looking to interview you, but someone who's the favorite of senior management, who's maybe not good at the job, but they just want to get someone in, and they might just be buying time until they can do that. And also, there's lots of employment and labor laws that they have to follow. So before they put in one of their favorites internally or hire the manager's nephew, they might have to interview 5 candidates just to demonstrate they have a fair employment hiring process for legality reasons. You don't know. You could be dragged into a completely time-wasting process. That's why...
a lot of this stuff is. Definitely, this is what they're doing. A lot of time wasting in the zero interest rate. And that's, all these layoffs and stuff are just making it clear that all that stuff's kind of going away. Or, but put it this way, it's open to competition from adventure-driven developers. I'll put it that way.
Get too invested. Just keep interviewing and treat them like... just like pointless, work meetings. And not pointless in the sense that you don't care about them, but you're emotionally detached, right? You're just kind of going from one interview to the next, one meeting to the next. You have your kind of canned responses. I'll tell you a bit about yourself. And this is some of my career advice practice I'll help you with if you are new to the channel. I've worked in the finance industry for over 10 years at some of these companies, Goldman's, Morgan Stanley, in sales and trading, on the trading floor, in investment banking and so on. And I offer career advice. There's a link in the description. But that's what you've got to kind of take this type of approach, where it's almost like when you go to the gym, or you meal prep your food, or you're kind of meeting people at a speed dating event if you go to that. You're kind of just going through the motions. You know what standard questions are. Maybe you have a prepared approach for some technical questions. You know the standard kind of approach. They're going to pick out certain points of your CV. You know what to mention, what not to say, how to navigate those difficult conversations about why you left a company, or if you had to deal with a layoff, or there's a gap in your CV. After a couple of times, the standard responses. Do what interest, do a bit of research about the company. There really is a formula to it, and that's why you should kind of just spit out the canned responses.
I mean, if you want to work in these environments, but I don't know. I just don't think these environments are just very conducive to people like that are on the destroyer creator side, which is people go into tech for because they get excited early on. They find their personal projects, whatever. Now, it's not like, but the recent people coming in are like, I want to go to a boot camp and just learn the React framework and get a job in a silver order, lead mine, or dungeon grind. And lead code. I'm going to do a lead code so I can get a direct competition or a lead mine or a silver order. Like, I want to lead code my way into it. I was like, okay. That's really not tech. That's something else. I don't even know what that would. It's sort of like, I just want to move the wrench. It's like, but don't you want to build a race car or build a Model T or rebuild some old thing. I don't know. No, I just want to build a wrench. I just want to make the wrench go. It's like, okay.
Across fake nice and fake enthusiastic, and then keep it moving. That's how you really deal with 1,000 applications. Otherwise, you'll burn out getting too invested on one opportunity that you'll wait months for the job offer for it to fall through. Just keep interviewing until you've got a solid contract you've signed.
Okay, so how am I really feeling? Number one, I have really started to doubt my capability as a product manager.
You should. Thank you for saying that. You should doubt your ability as a product manager because it's a job that's lame and going away and has no place in tech. And it's done. It's donezo.
And I know this is very, very common, by the way. I'm not saying like, oh, no one's ever experienced this. Of course, everyone experiences this. If you've been on the job hunt for 10 and a half months and you don't have an offer, any normal, sane person is going to doubt their capability. So I know it's not necessarily me.
But it's not just your capability, right? It's also the environment. It's raining outside and there's nobody hiring for that shit anyway. It's a kind of an extraneous position. I think some people figured it out.
It's also just primarily the market giving me this feedback, making me feel this way. But do I still feel like I'm not that good of a product manager? The answer is yes. The second emotional thing that I've been feeling a lot, or not a lot, but here and there, is really just jealousy of those with jobs because they don't really understand how nightmarish the tech job market is.
Oh, they do. If they've ever been through it. If they haven't, they're about to. Oh, they're about to. We're about to have a major revolution in all this stuff, right? All these huge big companies that think they're all the dominant. There's a whole new thing coming through, which is the same thing happened with the microcomputer revolution, but it's now happening in software. Well, it's just another stage of it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's KMP.
I'm also just jealous of how, number one, they're making money, but number two, how they're able to maintain or advance their career. So I feel like I'm being left behind, and it's not fair for me.
You have been. But the thing is, you're getting an early start. Hopefully, if he ever sees this, probably won't. But you get an early start as to what the real environment is. Which is, if you don't notice, like, go review some more about adventure-driven development. Of course, it's not how do I get my CV in front of the right gatekeeper. It's like, no, you have to open up a whole new gate to a whole new place, and that's how you won't be unemployed again, even if you get laid off.
Me to kind of put that pressure on myself, but I do feel that, and I'm just being really real here. The third thing that I feel is I wonder if I should just switch out of technology completely.
Maybe.
Tech does go through different cycles. There's booms and busts. Like there was the 2008 crisis. There was also the 2001.com bust, etc. But this whole experience is making me think like, dude, I just don't want to deal with this industry. Like it's just exhausting. I'm also just.
Oh, I know you're directing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It seems like he's more in this preserver role. He just wants to give me the thing, and I do the thing, and I did the thing yesterday. I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna do the same thing I would do tomorrow, and I'm always gonna be the same. And it's like maybe you should, dude. Because it's not going to stop. There's too many destroyers. There's too many creators. And we're going through a period where a lot of this stuff that was like built, like, where's a solid technology? It's like going to be wiped out. And like, yeah.
Kind of considering, maybe not seriously, but I have thought about switching out of technology. The positive thing that's come out of this is making me really audit, what do I want in a career? What do I find fulfilling? Is a tech career actually going to be fulfilling me? Is a product career in technology going to be fulfilling for me? So a lot of questions have been swirling in my head.
So this is a very difficult kind of realization that a lot of people are coming to, right? And firstly, I'd say if you're on a
I hate that career. Career. By the way, your career is what you look back on. You don't have a career going forward. It's something you look back on. There's been a whole bunch of late night movie, like TV shows. Oh, you get yourself a culinary career, or get yourself a nursing career. It's like no, it's a job. That's a job. You're talking about jobs. Career is something you look back on. Career is for creative people who actually make a mark, not just I worked at sales company X and did this XYZ at sales company Y. Nobody gives a fuck about that shit. Now, if you did something interesting and creative and new, okay, yes, that's a career. Like that's okay. You're serving your customers. Okay, that's kind of a career. But like this whole thing about I want a career, it's like you look back on it. Going forward, there's no career. It's just learning about UI UX, learning about sales, doing marketing, doing advertising, customer support training, documentation, learning how to program, learning what we go through as programmers to deal with getting these things to do what you say you want them to do. Once you learn some of that, it's not that far off, guy. How many YouTube videos could he have watched with those 1,500 applications? Do you think he might have learned even just UI UX? Just UI UX, using the tools, doing sketches, being useful like that, not just a goddamn product manager.
Paying career, often you'd want to have a high-end lifestyle, right? You might think, okay, you're working in tech, you're getting paid $200K a year, similar in finance, or similar type of high salaries. I would say just assume that you might have to face, like I say, long-term unemployment at some point in your career. So don't live like someone who's making $200,000 a year. Live like someone who's making, $70,000 to $80,000 a year, and then you're saving everything and investing everything, because you might go through a period, like I say, 6 to 12 months or more of unemployment. And I know that's a difficult realization, and there's a lot of mental health issues that are occurring because of this difficult job market.
Right. So that's for people. So people that are having issues with this is the preserver types. It's like, you told me I'd make $200K forever. It's like, no. The reason why they're paying you so much is because, one, the skill you have is very valuable right now at this particular moment in time, and you've had to build up the skill to get that kind of benefit out of it, and it's not going to be forever. It's not going to be forever, and that's why they have to like cut down the opportunity cost so you won't jump away. So once you have the skill sets, they need to keep you there to get the value out. They need to get the $300K out of you in the time period allotted, which is not unlimited, which is not infinite. It's not infinite. It's time bound. Tech is that's just how it is. It's been that way the whole damn time. It's never not going to be that, because these guys come in and will eat your lunch. They will eat your lunch. Anything you think you got nailed down forever and ever, these guys are coming in, man. The destroyer is going to muck it up. It's going to strangle things that just aren't working anymore. And these creative types are going to say, look, there's another thing that makes up for it. That's just how the universe works. I'm sorry. That's just how it's put together.
And you.
So anyway, I'm at an hour, and I am going to let you watch the last few minutes of that if you'd like. And I hope it's been enlightening and give you some different perspective from an old man that's been through all this bullshit before and currently going through it with you. And give me a like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.